My parents signed the hotel over to my sister, so I turned in my keys, walked out, and built a luxury chain that made theirs look like a motel. Before we dive in, please take a second to subscribe and tell us where you're watching from. It means more than you know. Now let's continue this story. I found the papers on Dad's desk by accident. My hands trembled as I read the deed transfer, dated 3 days ago. The Grandview Hotel, my hotel, the one I'd bled for, cried over, rebuilt from near bankruptcy, now belonged to my sister Michelle. Looking for something, Naomi? Dad's voice came from behind me. I spun around, holding the document. What is this? He sighed, loosening his tie. The same tie I'd bought him last Christmas. We were going to tell you this weekend. Tell me what? That you signed away 15 years of my life to Michelle? She hasn't worked a single shift here. Mom appeared in the doorway, her face carefully blank. Michelle needs this opportunity, baby. She's been struggling. Struggling. I laughed, but it came out choked. I dropped out of college to save this place when you were drowning in debt. I worked 70-hour weeks. I built this business from 20% occupancy to fully booked every weekend. And we appreciate that, Dad said, not meeting my eyes. But Michelle is family too. She needs security. I'm family. My voice cracked. I gave up everything. My degree, my relationship with Daryl, my 20s, for this hotel. Mom stepped forward. You're strong, Naomi. You'll be fine. Michelle is fragile. She needs our support. The word hung in the air like poison. Fragile. As if strength was a punishment, not a virtue. Where is she? I whispered. Hawaii, Dad admitted. With her boyfriend. They're celebrating. That's when I knew. They planned this. While I was negotiating with suppliers and training new staff, they were transferring my legacy to their favorite daughter. I carefully placed the papers back on the desk. I see. Naomi. I understand perfectly. I walked out, my spine straight, refusing to let them see me break. The next morning I arrived at the hotel at 5 a.m. like always. The lobby gleamed. I'd personally supervised the renovation last year, choosing every tile, every light fixture. The scent of fresh coffee drifted from the cafe, where Teresa, our morning manager, was setting up. Morning, Naomi, she called cheerfully. I couldn't respond. My throat was too tight. In my office I sat staring at the framed photo on my desk. Me at 22, covered in paint, grinning beside Mom and Dad during the grand reopening. I'd believed we were building something together. A family legacy. My phone buzzed. Michelle's Instagram story. Champagne on a beach. Caption reading, New beginnings. Dreams really do come true. I threw up in my trash can. At noon, my parents arrived with Michelle's boyfriend, Jordan. Not Michelle, just Jordan. Naomi, this is Jordan Wells, Dad announced proudly. He's a business consultant. He'll be helping transition the management. Jordan extended his hand. Mid-30s, expensive suit, practice smile. I've heard great things. Looking forward to streamlining operations. Streamlining. I ignored his hand. There's redundancy in staffing, he said, pulling out a tablet. Once we eliminate inefficiencies. Those inefficiencies are people, I interrupted. Teresa's worked here 12 years. Miguel's been our head chef for 8. They're not line items. Business isn't personal, Jordan said smoothly. This business was built on personal, I shot back. Every employee here stayed during the bankruptcy because I personally promised them we'd survive together. We became family. Mom touched my arm. Honey, Jordan knows what he's doing. Michelle trusts him. Michelle's been here twice this year. My voice rose. She doesn't know anyone's names. Exactly why she needs professional help, Dad said. You're too emotionally attached, Naomi. That's not sustainable. The words hit like a slap. Too emotionally attached. To the business I'd saved. To the people I'd promised. I want it in writing, I said quietly. My severance. My shares. Everything. Dad's face hardened. You don't have shares. You're an employee. The room tilted. What? We never formalized any ownership agreement, Mom said gently. The hotel has always been ours. I stood frozen trying to process their words. 15 years. No equity. No ownership. Nothing. You promised, I whispered. When I left college, you promised this would be mine someday. Plans change, sweetie, Mom said, her tone suggesting I was being unreasonable. We need to think about both our daughters. I want to see the original promise in writing, I demanded. Dad's expression shifted, guilty. We discussed it verbally. Nothing was ever documented. My legs felt weak. I trusted them completely. Never asked for contracts or formal agreements because they were my parents. The betrayal cut deeper than any business deal. So I have nothing, I said flatly. 15 years and I have nothing. You have experience, Jordan offered as if that was consolation. Great recommendations. You could manage any hotel. I don't want any hotel. I want this hotel. I built this hotel. You helped restore it, Dad corrected. Let's not exaggerate your role. The dismissal in his voice broke something inside me. I thought of the nights I'd slept on the office couch, too exhausted to drive home. The vendors I'd sweet-talked into payment plans. The guests I'd personally apologized to during our worst months, promising we'd do better. When does this transition happen? I asked. Immediately, Jordan said. Michelle wants to make changes quickly. We're bringing in new management by next week. And my staff. We're evaluating everyone, he replied. No promises. I looked at my parents. You're really doing this. You're erasing me. Mom's eyes glistened. Don't be dramatic. You'll always be our daughter. Just not the daughter who deserves what she earned. I grabbed my bag. I need air. Outside I called my best friend Laura. She answered on the first ring. They did what? She exploded after I explained. No, this is beyond toxic. This is criminal. It's legal, I said bitterly. Stupid but legal. What are you going to do? I looked back at my hotel and felt something shift inside me. I'm going to show them what a mistake looks like. Monday morning, I dressed in my best suit. The navy one I'd bought for investor meetings that never happened because my parents preferred family funding. I arrived at the hotel carrying a box. Teresa saw me first. Naomi? What's with the box? Call everyone to the lobby, I said. Emergency staff meeting. Within 10 minutes, 23 employees gathered, confused and concerned. These were my people. Carmen, who worked nights to support her 3 kids. Deshaun, who'd started as a teenager and worked his way up to assistant manager. Miguel, whose recipes had made our restaurant the hotel's biggest draw. My parents weren't there. Neither was Jordan. Perfect. I want you all to hear this from me, I began, my voice steady despite my racing heart. As of today, I no longer work here. Gasps rippled through the crowd. The hotel has been transferred to my sister, Michelle. New management will be taking over, and I'm told everyone's position is being evaluated. What does that mean? Carmen asked, fear in her eyes. It means they're bringing in consultants who see you as expenses, not people. It means everything we built together, our family culture, our values, that's over. But you can fight this, Deshaun said. You are this hotel. I smiled sadly. I was never given ownership. I was just labor. Free labor, as it turns out. Teresa's face flushed with anger. That's not right. Your parents can't just. They can. And they did. I set the box on the front desk. Inside were my keys, my employee badge, my name tag. 15 years reduced to a shoebox. I wanted you all to know that whatever happens next isn't your fault. You're incredible at your jobs. You deserve better than this. What will you do? Miguel asked. I thought about the business plan I'd sketched out at 3 a.m., fueled by rage and heartbreak. I'm going to build something better. Something that appreciates loyalty. Can we come with you? Deshaun asked immediately. The question stunned me. I don't have anything yet. Just ideas. Ideas from you are better than reality from them, Teresa said firmly. Several people nodded. My phone buzzed. Dad, *, where are you? We need to discuss your departure professionally. Asterisk. I held up the phone. They want a professional goodbye. After 15 years of my life. I typed back, check the front desk. Then I blocked his number. I met Laura at her office downtown. She was a corporate lawyer, razor-sharp and fiercely protective. Her conference room had a view of the city skyline, a stark contrast to my hotel's suburban location. Tell me everything, she said, recorder ready. I walked her through it all. The verbal promises, the lack of documentation, the sudden transfer, Jordan's dismissive attitude. She took notes, her jaw tightening with each detail. Legally, you don't have much, she admitted finally. Verbal agreements are nearly impossible to prove, especially against family. I know. But, her eyes gleamed, you have something better than a legal case. You have institutional knowledge, relationships, and a reputation. Your parents just handed you the greatest motivation possible, revenge. I don't want revenge, I said. I want justice. In business, they're the same thing. She pulled out her laptop. Let's talk capital. You'll need investors. I have 30,000 in savings, I said. Everything I've managed to put away while working for free. Not enough for a hotel. What about a boutique property? Something small but luxurious. A proof of concept. Laura grinned. Now you're thinking strategically. I know someone who might be interested. Devin Matthews, he invests in minority-owned businesses. Made his fortune in tech, now he's focused on legacy building. Why would he bet on me? Because your story is compelling. Young woman builds business from scratch, gets betrayed by family, rises from ashes to create something better? That's the narrative investors love. It's Rocky meets Succession. She set up a meeting for Wednesday. 2 days to prepare a pitch that would determine my future. That night I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about my staff, wondering how many would be fired. Wondering if they'd survive whatever Jordan implemented. Around midnight my phone rang. Unknown number. Naomi? It's Daryl. My ex. The man I'd broken up with 8 years ago because the hotel consumed all my time. How did you get my number? Laura. Listen, I heard what happened. I'm sorry. Why are you calling? My voice came out harder than intended. Bez, I want to help. I'm in commercial real estate now. I know properties, financing, development. And, he paused, I know what it's like to lose something because of that hotel. The truth in his words stung. Daryl. I'm not trying to restart anything personal. But business. I can help you build something that matters. Devin Matthews' office occupied the entire top floor of a gleaming tower downtown. At 45 he radiated success. Tailored suit, confident posture, shrewd eyes that missed nothing. Miss Johnson. He greeted me warmly. Laura speaks highly of you. I hope I can live up to it, I said, settling into the chair across from his desk. Tell me your story. Not the business plan. I'll read that later. Tell me why you're here. So I did. I told him about being 22 and watching my parents cry over bankruptcy papers. About dropping out of college 3 credits from graduation. About the 70-hour weeks, the sacrifices, the promises. About finding the transfer papers and realizing I'd built someone else's empire. They told me I was too emotionally attached, I finished. As if caring about people is a weakness. Devin was quiet for a long moment. My father did something similar. I built his construction company from 3 employees to 300. When he sold it, I got a thank you card and a $5,000 bonus. He leaned forward. The buyer made $20 million. My father kept it all. What did you do? Started over. Built something better. Made sure everyone who helped me got equity, not promises. He opened my business plan. The Lux Collective. Boutique hotels with soul. Interesting concept. Hotels have become transactional, I explained, finding my rhythm. Corporate chains optimize for profit margins, not experiences. I want to create properties where guests feel valued and staff are treated like partners, not expenses. Ambitious. Also expensive. Phase 1 is modest. 1 property, 40 rooms, full-service restaurant. I've identified a historic building downtown that's been empty for 2 years. The owner is motivated to sell. How much? 1.2 million. Another 800,000 for renovations. I'm asking for 2 million total. In exchange you get 40% equity. 60%, Devon countered. 51% and you get first option on expansion properties. He smiled. You negotiate well for someone who got burned. I learned from getting burned. Devon stood, extending his hand. I'll have my lawyers draw up terms. But Naomi? I'm in. Not just because the numbers work, but because people who've been betrayed build the most loyal teams. They know what betrayal costs. Walking out, I felt lighter than I had in weeks. Daryl was waiting in the lobby. Well, he asked. We're building a hotel. His grin was infectious. Then let's find you a property that'll make your family's place look like a roadside motel. The Montgomery building had been a jewel once. A 1920s hotel with Art Deco details and soaring ceilings. 30 years of neglect had left it crumbling, but the bones were magnificent. It's perfect, I breathed, running my hand along the marble reception desk. Daryl nodded, taking measurements. Structurally sound. Needs complete mechanical, electrical, and plumbing overhauls. But the architectural details, these are irreplaceable. How long for renovations? 6 months if we're aggressive. 8 if we're realistic. We'll do 6. He raised an eyebrow. Naomi. My parents' busy season starts in 6 months. I want to be open before their summer rush, offering everything they can't. I pulled out my phone, showing him my concept boards. Rooftop restaurant. Spa services. Personal concierge for every guest. And profit sharing for all employees. That'll cut into margins. It'll build loyalty. People don't leave jobs where they're valued. Over the next week I assembled my team. Teresa agreed to leave the Grandview immediately, becoming my operations director. Deshawn joined as guest services manager. Miguel committed to designing the restaurant once construction finished. Carmen took a leap of faith, quitting to become head of housekeeping. Your parents aren't happy, Teresa warned during our first official meeting. Jordan's been calling around, telling people we're unprofessional for leaving. Let him talk, I said. Our work will speak louder. But I underestimated how dirty they'd fight. 2 days later, Michelle posted on social media. *sad when family chooses ambition over loyalty. Wishing my sister well though her choices hurt. The comments poured in, people who didn't know the truth defending her, calling me selfish and ungrateful. Laura found me crying in my car that evening. Don't read the comments. She's rewriting history. Making me the villain. So tell your story. Not on social media. That's her battlefield. Tell it through success. She grabbed my shoulders. Build something so undeniable that the truth becomes obvious. I wiped my eyes. You're right. I know. Now come on. Daryl found vintage light fixtures that'll make your lobby look like a palace. That night I blocked Michelle on every platform. If she wanted to lie, she could do it without my witness. Construction was ahead of schedule until the permits got mysteriously delayed. The city inspector suddenly found violations that didn't exist. Our contractor received anonymous complaints about noise, despite being within legal hours. Someone's interfering, Daryl said, frustrated. These delays are coordinated. I knew who. A week earlier, Dad had shown up at the construction site unannounced. Impressive, he'd said, surveying the gutted lobby. You're actually doing this. Did you think I wouldn't? I thought you'd cool down, maybe ask to come back. Michelle's struggling with the responsibility. That's not my problem anymore. His face hardened. Don't be vindictive, Naomi. This town isn't big enough for competing hotels. Then maybe you should have thought about that before betraying me. He'd left angry. 2 days later the permit problems started. Laura dug into it, discovering Jordan had connections with a city councilman. He was using those connections to slow us down. Can we prove it? I asked. Not definitively. But I can make noise. File complaints, request investigations. Make it more trouble than it's worth to keep harassing you. While Laura fought bureaucratic battles, I focused on the business. I interviewed 60 candidates for 20 positions, choosing people whose values aligned with our mission. Each interview ended with the same question: why do you want to work here? The best answer came from a young woman named Ashley. Because you're building something that respects people. I'm tired of being a number. By month 4, despite the sabotage, we were progressing. The lobby's Art Deco details had been restored, the guest rooms were being framed, and Miguel's test kitchen was operational. Then the fire happened. I got the call at 2 a.m. Miss Johnson? This is Fire Chief Williams. Your property on Montgomery Street has a situation. My heart stopped. How bad? Contained to the south wing. Looks like electrical, but we're investigating. I arrived to find Daryl already there, soot-stained and furious. This wasn't an accident. The fire marshal confirmed it 3 days later. Arson. Someone had deliberately set a fire in our electrical panel room. Who would do this? Teresa asked, though we all knew. We can't prove anything, I said tiredly. But we know, Deshawn said darkly. The setback cost us 6 weeks and $100,000. Devon considered pulling funding. I'm all in, he finally decided. But Naomi, you need security. Cameras. Night guards. Whoever did this might try again. Despite everything, we opened on schedule. The Lux Montgomery's grand opening was intentionally understated. No media circus, just a soft launch for invited guests and local business owners. The property exceeded my vision. Crystal chandeliers cast warm light across restored marble. The rooftop restaurant, Elevation, offered panoramic city views. Each of the 40 rooms featured custom furnishings and original artwork from local artists. It's beautiful, Teresa whispered, surveying the lobby on opening night. Our first guest was a businesswoman named Angela Green, in town for a conference. She'd stayed at the Grandview twice and left unimpressed both times. This is different, she said, checking in. Feels intentional. Like someone cares. We do, I assured her. If you need anything at all, just ask. Over the first month, our occupancy hit 70%. Reviews were glowing. Boutique luxury with genuine hospitality. Finally, a hotel that treats guests like humans, not transactions. The staff actually remembers your name. Meanwhile, the Grandview was struggling. Jordan's efficiencies had gutted the staff, leaving skeleton crews who couldn't maintain service standards. Online reviews plummeted. Rude staff. Dirty rooms. Not worth the price. Michelle called me for the first time in 8 months. I almost didn't answer. Naomi. Her voice was strained. We need to talk. I don't think we do. Please. I made a mistake. Jordan isn't, things aren't working out. That's unfortunate. My tone was ice. Mom and Dad are talking about selling. They can't sustain the losses. If they do, Jordan gets a percentage as consultant. He'll walk away with money while we lose everything. You'll lose everything, I corrected. I already lost everything. I'm building something new. Can't you help? For Mom and Dad? They're your parents too. The audacity stunned me. You took my life's work and you want me to save you from the consequences? No. Naomi. I hope you learn something from this, Michelle. I hope you learn that nothing worth having comes without effort. That loyalty matters. That you can't just take what others build and expect it to sustain itself. I paused. But mostly I hope you learn what it feels like to lose everything you thought was yours. Goodbye. I blocked her number, hands shaking but heart steady. Laura high-fived me later. Cold-blooded. I'm proud. I'm not being vindictive. I'm protecting my peace. Sometimes they're the same thing. 6 months after opening, the Lux Montgomery was exceeding projections. 95% occupancy. 5-star reviews. A waiting list for Elevation, Miguel's rooftop restaurant. Devon called me to his office. I'm impressed. You've built something sustainable. We have a great team. Yes, and that team deserves growth opportunities. I've acquired 2 more properties. One here, one in the neighboring state. I want you to expand the Lux Collective. My breath caught. 2 more hotels? 3 total. Each with its own character but unified brand values. You'll need to hire regional management, but I want you overseeing the vision. Devon, I can't thank you enough. Thank me by succeeding. And by accepting this. He slid a document across his desk. Revised partnership agreement. You're now a 51% owner. Tears blurred my vision. But our agreement was for one property. You've proven you can build an empire. I want you to have controlling interest. This should always be yours. I thought about my parents who'd given me nothing. About Devon who barely knew me giving me everything. I won't let you down. I know. That's why I'm betting on you. The second property was a beachfront resort that needed complete reimagining. The third was a historic mountain lodge. Both had been mismanaged, both had potential. I hired carefully, promoting from within where possible. Deshawn became Regional Operations Director. Teresa took over Montgomery as General Manager. Carmen trained housekeeping teams across all properties. We opened the beach resort 11 months later. The mountain lodge 6 months after that. Each opening was met with enthusiasm, strong bookings and glowing reviews. The Lux Collective isn't just a hotel chain, it's a hospitality philosophy. Meanwhile, the Grandview had been sold. Jordan took his consultant fee and disappeared. My parents tried calling. I didn't answer. They left voicemails. We made mistakes. We're sorry. We're proud of what you've built. Can we talk? Each message hurt a little less. I was building something too important to be derailed by their regret. Michelle tried showing up at Montgomery. Security turned her away. She's family, the guard said uncertainly. She's a stranger, I corrected. And we don't allow solicitors. He didn't argue again. Success, I learned, was the best response to betrayal. Not because it proved them wrong, they'd always been wrong. But because it proved I was stronger than their worst treatment. The Hospitality Industry Awards were the Super Bowl of hotel management. I'd never attended as a guest, only as staff at industry conferences. This year, the Lux Collective was nominated for 5 awards. Best New Hotel Chain, Excellence in Employee Relations, Sustainability Initiative of the Year, Best Boutique Property and Hotelier of the Year. We won't win, I told my team. Just being nominated is incredible. Bet you're wrong, Daryl said. He'd become a close friend again, sometimes more, though we moved slowly. Healing took time. The ceremony was in a ballroom that held 800 people. I wore a golden gown, feeling both powerful and terrified. We won excellence in employee relations first. Teresa accepted the award, her speech moving the audience. This award belongs to Naomi Johnson, who proved that treating people with dignity isn't just moral, it's profitable. And to every employee across our 3 properties, thank you for believing that work can be more than a paycheck. Next was Sustainability Initiative, another win. Best Boutique Property, Montgomery took it, beating chains with 50 times our budget. When they announced Hotelier of the Year, my heart raced. This award recognizes vision, leadership and transformative impact on the industry. This year's recipient started with nothing but determination and built a hospitality empire that puts humanity first. The winner is Naomi Johnson, the Lux Collective. The applause was thunderous. I walked to the stage in a daze. 3 years ago, I said, gripping the award, I lost everything I'd built. I was betrayed by people I trusted, dismissed as too emotional, told my work didn't matter. Standing here tonight, I want every person who's been overlooked, undervalued, or betrayed to know. Your worth isn't determined by those who failed to see it. Build something that reflects your values. Surround yourself with people who appreciate loyalty. And never ever settle for being treated as less than you deserve. The standing ovation lasted 3 minutes. Backstage, a reporter asked, Your family owned the Grandview Hotel, which recently closed. Any comment? I thought carefully. I wish them well. Everyone deserves the chance to learn from their mistakes. The camera caught my polite smile, but not the sadness underneath. Winning felt hollow without them there to see it. Not because I needed their validation, but because I'd once believed we'd celebrate successes together. That night, Michelle posted, Congratulations to my sister on her success. I'm sorry for everything. Too little. Too late. I didn't respond. They came to my office unannounced on a Tuesday morning. All three of them, Mom, Dad, Michelle. Security called for approval. Let them up, I said, steeling myself. They looked older. Tired. Dad's hair had gone completely gray. Mom had lost weight. Michelle wore no makeup, her eyes red-rimmed. Naomi, Mom started. Thank you for seeing us. You have 5 minutes. I didn't offer chairs. We were wrong, Dad said. Completely, inexcusably wrong. We took advantage of your loyalty and destroyed something beautiful. You destroyed me, I corrected quietly. The business recovered. I built something better. But you destroyed the trust one had in family. Michelle stepped forward. I was selfish and stupid. I let Jordan manipulate me. I thought, her voice broke. I thought taking the hotel would make me good enough. Like you. But I'm not you. I could never be you. Why are you here? I asked. To apologize, Mom said. And to tell you we're proud. So incredibly proud. And I knew there was more. Dad hesitated. We lost everything. The house, the savings. We're living with Michelle in a small apartment. We were hoping that I'd hire you. The laugh escaped before I could stop it. You want jobs. We'd work any position, Michelle said desperately. Housekeeping, front desk, anything. We need income. I looked at them, these people who'd shaped my life then shattered it. I could feel their desperation, their genuine remorse. Part of me wanted to help. They were still my family. But a louder part remembered sleeping on that office couch. Remembered the promises. Remembered being erased. No, I said simply. Naomi, please. Mom's voice cracked. You taught me business isn't personal, remember? You taught me that efficiency matters more than loyalty. You taught me that family means nothing when opportunity calls. I stood. I learned those lessons well. Thank you for that education. We made mistakes, Dad pleaded. But we're still your parents. Parents protect their children. They honor their sacrifices. They keep their promises. My voice remained steady. You're the people who gave birth to me. That's biology, not family. So this is revenge? Michelle asked bitterly. No. This is boundaries. This is protecting what I've built from people who've proven they can't be trusted. This is choosing myself after a lifetime of choosing you. They left quietly. No arguments, no fights. Just 3 broken people carrying the weight of their choices. I cried after they left. Not for what I'd lost, but for what we could have been. For the family that had existed in my imagination but never in reality. 2 years later, the Lux Collective operated 12 properties across 5 states. We'd been featured in major publications, become the case study for ethical hospitality management, and maintained our 5-star ratings across every location. I was in my office at the flagship Montgomery property when Devin called. There's someone who wants to meet you, he said. She's been following your story. The woman who arrived was elegant, maybe 60, with kind eyes. Ms. Johnson, I'm Dr. Sharon Gibson. I teach business ethics at the university. Nice to meet you, I said, confused. I want to feature your story in my curriculum. You've demonstrated something rare. The ability to succeed without compromising values. But I wanted your permission and your perspective. What would you tell students about what you experienced? I thought about it carefully. I'd tell them that betrayal reveals character, both the betrayer's and your own. That success built on other people's pain is hollow. That true legacy isn't what you take but what you build and who you empower. And family? How do you reconcile family with business? The question still hurt. Sometimes the family you choose, the team you build, the people who value you, matters more than the family you're born into. That doesn't make you wrong or them entirely evil. It just means some relationships are too broken to fix, and that's okay. Dr. Gibson nodded. May I ask, do you ever regret walking away? Every day. The admission surprised me. I regret that it was necessary. I regret that people I loved chose comfort over conscience. But I don't regret choosing myself. I don't regret building something that honors the work, the people, the promises. And your parents? Your sister? They reached out occasionally. Birthday cards. Holiday messages. I respond politely but distantly. Maybe someday I'll forgive fully. But forgiveness doesn't require reconciliation. I can wish them well from a distance. After she left, I walked through the hotel. Our evening shift was starting. People I'd hired, trained, promoted. People who had equity, healthcare, profit sharing. People who knew their work mattered. Teresa found me on the rooftop. You okay, boss? Just thinking about how different things could have been. Better or worse? I watched the city lights flicker on. Different. If they hadn't betrayed me, I might have stayed comfortable. I might never have built this. So maybe. I paused, letting truth settle. Maybe their worst brought out my best. That's generous. It's honest. They broke my heart but forged my spine. I'm grateful for what I built, even if I hate how I got here. My phone buzzed. Daryl, dinner? There's something I want to ask you. I smiled, typing back. Yes. As I headed out, I passed the wall of photos in our lobby. Our team at each property opening, guests at milestone celebrations, the awards we'd won. One photo showed me at 22, exhausted but hopeful, standing in front of the original hotel. The woman in that photo believed in family, trust, and loyalty. She'd been betrayed and broken. The woman leaving tonight knew that sometimes the greatest success comes from the ashes of your worst failures. That blood doesn't guarantee loyalty. That you can build something beautiful from heartbreak. And that the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's becoming so completely yourself that their absence becomes irrelevant. I'd built my legacy. Not the one they'd promised me, but one I'd earned entirely on my own terms. If you've ever felt betrayed by people you trusted, undervalued by those who should have appreciated you, or dismissed as too emotional for caring deeply, share this story. Let's remind each other that your worth isn't determined by those who failed to see it.